Wow, I need to have a sip of my coffee. I've got to pull my head out of my Chelsea tinted glasses here, and we have to say, well done to Arsenal, because they battered, crushed, destroyed, dismantled Real Madrid 3-0 in the Champions League at the Emirates in a night that we just have to talk about here on More GBFC. I wanted this channel to be where we talk about the other teams in the Premier League that maybe don't have as much of a voice online, but these big games, right? There's something quite magnificent about what we've watched. And I hate saying this as a Chelsea fan. I really, really didn't want to be here today talking about just how great Arsenal were. If you love football, you look at this and you're like, well done. Absolutely sensational. Declan Rice has scored two of the best free kicks you'll ever see. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I think the second one might be the best free kick I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. But I will talk about the first one as well, because I think that one is magnificent in so many ways. And that is the tipping point. The moment that this thumbnail that you can see on the screen again here, the moment that it looks like Saka is going towards Courtois' right, so Courtois is leaning in there, and then Rice just bends this around a feeble Fede Valverde in the wall. This is the moment that Arsenal arrived as, for me, now the favourites to win the Champions League this season. It was absolutely spectacular. But we'll talk about the goals in more detail, because I want to talk about this man, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and I want to talk about Bukayo Saka, because these two and Declan Rice today, first of all, I'm delighted that these three blokes are English, I tell you that much. But Arsenal were just amazing. Real Madrid, I have never ever in the Champions League seen Real Madrid quit the way that they did. Camavinga gets sent off in the 94th minute for a second yellow card. But I've never seen such, Real Madrid threw the towel in. They weren't working hard enough for the whole game. They kind of played in this mid-block. If we take a look at the average Real Madrid positions, Jude Bellingham should have been dropping deeper to help defensively a lot more. Luka Modric is nearly 40 years old. And Arsenal were just finding these pockets of spaces in behind that mid-block. You can see Bukayo Saka is all the way up the top. That was amazing, because Alaba hadn't played Champions League football for over a year, so Saka was suffocating him down that right-hand side. But Arsenal were finding so much space in behind that Real Madrid mid-block. I've never seen such void effort from Real Madrid, but I want to say it wasn't about Real Madrid being bad. This was really quite about Arsenal being good, because they were absolutely sensational. If we take a look at the old trusted momentum chart for this game, the whole first half, you can see Arsenal are the more dominant, but we're not talking about the dominance of the second half. But they're kind of feeling Real Madrid out a little bit here, trying to understand where the spaces are going to be on the pitch. And I think Arsenal did that in this period of time here, where they realised where those bank of Real Madrid players were going to be. Declan Rice, who you can see here, was kind of occupying these wider spaces to allow Miles Lewis-Skelly to step in here. For a player of his age, with the experience that he has, which isn't really a lot to be quite honest, to be able to adopt these instructions the way that he did, stepping into those left half spaces, into the midfield, Lewis-Skelly, I thought, was absolutely brilliant. Wins 4 out of his 7 ground duels, 95% accurate passing, 74 touches of the ball, succeeded in his only attempted dribble of the game. Positionally, he was super key. Declan Rice was moving out into the wide areas, and Martin Odegaard was doing the same on this right-hand side and finding the pockets of space in behind this Real Madrid midfield. The next player that we've got to talk about, though, is Bukayo Saka. Look at the intensity of the positions that he occupied for the majority of this game. This is exactly where you want Bukayo Saka to be, cutting in on that left foot, being a threat. But it wasn't always about what he did with the ball at his feet. It was more so about how he stretched the game and his intelligence with the runs, the timing, and the movements behind what he was trying to achieve. 77% accurate passes, won all of his ground duels. Saka was magnificent and had a hand basically in the majority of the goals because of how he got into the positions to win the free kicks for Arsenal. It's just insane what Declan Rice has done. I waited until the 5th minute of this because I didn't want to just do, oh, isn't that a great free kick from Declan Rice? But the first one, I'll bring the thumbnail back up again because it explains everything. You can see my face. You can see that Courtois is leaning over to go to that right side because he's expecting Bukayo Saka to bend it kind of beyond the wall and over to that side where you'd expect Courtois to save it. Thibaut Courtois, by the way, is an unbelievable goalkeeper. And if we take a look at the match stats, 5 saves. This could have genuinely been 6-0 to Arsenal if they didn't have the best goalkeeper in the world at Real Madrid. Genuinely. But Declan Rice has hit that. And I don't understand why they pull these nets so tight these days. Bring the stanchion back. Petitions, campaigns got to be had for it. But it is just sublime, that first free kick from Declan Rice. Arsenal go 1-0 up. They're in dreamland. They're beating Real Madrid. And then just a few minutes after that, there's another free kick. And this time, we are talking about, like, this is beyond perfection. When you're a kid and you're playing in the cage or you're playing in the park and you see there's, like, monkey bars and you're trying to just hit those areas and then you're dreaming of doing that on a football pitch, like Declan Rice, this is like what his career's been leading up to. Okay, he won a trophy with West Ham, but these are the moments you dream of. Look at this picture, holding up the 23 Beckham shirt. That's his favourite Galactico, and tonight he has scored 2 free kicks that Beckham would even dream of against Real Madrid. Like, I'm sorry, but I know I'm a Chelsea fan, but this is an amazing moment. It's truly one of the best, if not the best free kick I've ever seen. Straight into the top corner against the best goalkeeper in world football. You can't write this kind of stuff. Look at this dominance in the second half from Arsenal. And I think as soon as that second goal goes in from Declan Rice, I've never seen Real Madrid give up on a Champions League game before, but they did. They actually did, because they didn't have answers to anything that Arsenal did. And I've got to say, there needs to be so much more work done from these 3 players. Mbappe gets a 7.4, 6.3 Vinicius, 7.3 Bellingham, but they didn't work hard enough for the team. Luka Modric is a brilliant player, the Real Madrid captain, but he's 39 for goodness sake, or 38, whatever it is. He can't do all of that work. And Arsenal were just finding positions right in here where my cursor is now and hurting Real Madrid so often. To be in those positions to even win those free kicks in the first place is so smart. And we're talking about a game that will be spoken about for years. Arsenal now have to go to the Bernabeu and get the job done, because otherwise we won't be talking about it anymore. The narrative will be Real Madrid do it again. They've come back from 3-0 down. Aren't they the greatest team in history? But I genuinely think with this Arsenal defence being the way it is, Kiwior can come in for Gabriel, but they were just so well organised, so well drilled. Great performance as well from David Raya, who makes 4 saves in the game too, to keep that clean sheet. But I think, honestly, the Mikel Merino goal needs to be spoken about too, because on any other day, this would go down as a magnificent goal too. The finish and the way that he's kind of just bent that with his left foot was sensational. And Arsenal were just in this mood in the second half where they were perfect, genuinely perfect, against one of the greatest club in world football, probably. I hate saying that because obviously I wish it was Chelsea, but I don't think we're quite round that way anymore. But Arsenal, credit. I have to say it. I didn't want this video to be like, look how energetic Benson is as a Chelsea fan. Bit weird, isn't it? No, this is the channel where we talk about football and we talk about moments. We break things down. And there's no way, I mean, even Spurs fans have got to be like, whoa. Like, Declan Rice, credit to him, man. 2 sensational free kicks. And now it's about getting the job done. It isn't over. If it was any other club, I'd say this is over. Maybe if it was going back to Anfield, but like, even then, Arsenal are not conceding 3. They're really, really not. I mean, I might look like an absolute prat now, but who's going to do it in this Real Madrid team? You know, they got beat against Valencia. We were doing a live stream whilst that was all happening, and Real Madrid were awful that day as well. And if you look at the bench, like, who are we really calling up here to make a difference? Who are you going to bring on? You're going to bring on Endrick, who's played 120 minutes this season? Probably not. Arda Güler? No. Like, I think this is done. I think Arsenal are cruising into the semi-finals of the Champions League. Unbelievable win. If you're an Arsenal fan, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you're a Chelsea fan, which I'm sure Quite a lot of you are still watching this channel, Chelsea fans. We can only dream of these moments again, can't we? See you later.